Am I wrong for telling my husband that he ruined my life? To put you in context, I, 24F, met my husband, 32M, when I was 18, and as soon as we started dating I moved with him to his country because I was madly in love with him. Well, a few months after arriving there I got pregnant and I couldn't even get into college, because we couldn't afford a babysitter, and that's not all. After our son was born I got pregnant again just a few months later. And I had to postpone going to college again because we couldn't afford that expense with 2 children because only my husband worked, and at that time, and it was a part-time job, because he was doing his PhD. Until he graduated and got a well-paying job, I didn't have any social life. My life was reduced to being a housewife, mother, and wife. I didn't even have time to make new friends, so I was always alone because his family hated me and we didn't have a good relationship. But I always put up with that because I loved him and I was so proud of everything he had achieved and everything he did for us, because the truth is that he always did everything possible to give us everything, and I'm not just talking about material things. I got my very first job at 23 when our kids were kindergarten age, but due to life circumstances I had to quit the job just a few months after getting it, and those life circumstances were that when I got pregnant for the 3rd time my husband thought it was from a coworker with whom, according to him, I was having an affair. He didn't want to hold our daughter during her first months of life even if she cried desperately while I was doing something else. He never woke up at night to help me with her. He never helped me with anything during that time. We had to do a paternity test for him to believe me and accept our daughter. After that I got really angry with him because I was tired of being alone, tired of not having friends or family around, so I asked him to go back to my country. Last year for Christmas we moved here and he is doing everything to help me now that I am going to go to college. He got a good job here while he waits for the validation of his degree to be able to work here, and I can't complain because here now we have my family nearby, we have a nice house, we have a lady who helps us with the cleaning and cooking, and we plan to hire a babysitter when I start going to college. The point is that lately my friends have been leaving me aside because we don't have the same lifestyle. They go to the club every weekend, and even some days of the week now that it's summer. And I feel like we're not as close as before because I have a completely different life. A few weeks ago they started planning a girls' trip to the beach and my husband told me that it would be nice for me to go to reconnect with the group, but I couldn't accept because I didn't want to be away from the kids since we were never apart for so long. When I told him that, he got angry and told me that I should keep my friends and that I'm not going to die from being away from the kids because he is their father and he also knows how to take care of them. Then he told me that he is worried about me because when we started looking for babysitters I also behaved in a paranoid way, that I should teach the children to be independent and things like that, and I got angry and told him that he has no right to talk about my social life because he was the one who ruined my life, and hearing that hurt him because he just said that he knows that he was very selfish by prioritizing his PhD over me, but that now he wanted to fix his mistake and help me get closer to my friends again. But I didn't want to listen to him and I haven't spoken to him back since this morning. Am I wrong for that? Edit. I didn't say that it's not my fault that I got pregnant, but I'm tired of the fact that whenever I try to have some financial independence and start my studies, accidents always happen. I can't tolerate female contraceptive methods for hormonal reasons, so we only depend on condoms and something always happens. This time I moved here thinking I could work and go to college and I ended up pregnant again for the 4th time, having a daughter who is only a few months old and 2 children of 5 and 4 years old, and I'm not saying that it's only his fault, but I am tired. Next story. My BF, 21M, and I, 22F, got caught having sex. How do I move on? I am so embarrassed, angry, hurt, just really going through all of it. I, 22F, came home tonight from a long day of work and my mother comes to me and says, "Your brother and I want to have a chat with you about last night. Last night, my boyfriend came over and we had sex. Nothing out of the norm, but I guess I was too loud this time. We always try to do it discreetly but I got caught, so my brother, 19M, and mother, 52F, had a chat with me about how uncomfortable it was to hear me. My mother was doing most of the talking and was speaking for my brother. I was getting emotional, so I looked at my brother and said, "Why did you not come at me directly with this? We are both grown-ups, if you had a problem, you come to me." He stayed quiet and my mother got defensive saying, "This is not a whorehouse, go book a hotel room if you want to do that." I was offended that my mother is essentially slut-shaming me for having sex with my boyfriend of 3 years. I look at my brother and apologize sincerely because I made him uncomfortable and that was the last thing I wanted to do. He forgave me and that was that. It hurts because my mother is acting like I am bringing different men to the house. Things got really heated between my mother and so I start crying and I call my boyfriend to tell him what happened. He says, "I'm sorry for getting you in trouble. Do you want to come over? And I say I would like that, so I pack up my essentials and I left home. My mother has called me but I'm refusing to pick up and my brother doesn't know that I left home. I feel really embarrassed and I don't know what to do. A part of me feels really bad for my brother, but at the same time, he is an adult. He should have come up to me one-on-one to have this conversation. How do I move on with this? I don't want my boyfriend to walk on eggshells anytime he comes over now. Edit. Thank you for all the comments and advice. I appreciate all the honest feedback. There are a few things that need clearing up. My boyfriend lives about 40 minutes from my place. He lives at his parents' as well. I wish I can magically move into a brand new apartment tomorrow, but that's not how it works. I am planning to move out of home in February 2025, as that is when my annual leave will be and I will have enough saved up for me to move out. I work 6 out of the 7 days a week and don't have time to move out just yet. My brother and I are on good terms. Like I said in my post, I apologized for making him uncomfortable as I never wanted this to escalate to this extent. He forgave me and we are all good. I'm going to talk to him one-on-one. What has made me upset is more of the fact that my mother slut-shamed me and making this a bigger deal than it has to be. Of course, I talked to my boyfriend. We agreed that we won't have sex at my mother's place. It's not like sex is a big deal in our relationship, but we will manage. He visits me at most twice a week, so it's not like this is an everyday occurrence. Update. Hello again. I am very overwhelmed with all of your comments, and again I would like to say thank you all for your feedback and advice. I came home about an hour ago and I had a lengthy chat with my brother. He said that he should have talked to me privately, but he had to tell someone. I completely understood why and I apologized to him again for what he heard. We hugged it out, made a few jokes about it and moved on. After that I talked to my mother. I started the conversation with, is my boyfriend not allowed to come over anymore? And she said of course he can come over. We love him and your relationship. I mentioned that I did not appreciate the whorehouse comment and she got emotional. She told me that it was wrong for her to say that and that she should have talked with me one-on-one instead of bringing my brother and having a whole discussion about it. She was really beating herself about it. I got emotional too and we talked about boundaries and what we can and can't do. Obviously lol, we hugged. She sincerely apologized and told me stories about her and my late father and it made me feel a lot better. So that's that. This is probably going to be a story that I'm gonna laugh about in a few years' time, but yeah, smile. Thank you again. Like and subscribe for more stories.